time. It's running out as the ARCA REMAX Series heads for the home stretch. 6 races to go, and the man who's dominated the series in the past looks to have found his stride just in time. The checkered flag will fly for Frank Kimmel, winning career number 71. Frank Kimmel has won the last 2 races, but gutsy rookie Michael McDowell continues to stay within striking distance in the points. McDowell has been magic under the lights. A photo finish to Kimmel in Iowa, 2nd in Berlin, and the win in Kentucky. But this time, he'll need to work that magic again if he wants to gain ground on the red-hot 46. With 12 different winners in 17 races, tonight could be anybody's show. It's time for the ARCA REMAX Series to go racing right now at Gateway. Welcome to the Gateway to the West. It's the Gateway ARCA 150 for the ARCA REMAX Series, race number 18 of the 2007 season. And the points race is really starting to heat up. Hello, everyone. I'm Rick Allen alongside of Phil Parsons. Now, we come to Gateway International Raceway, and this is a unique racetrack, Phil.
Very unique. Much like Pocono, even though it's only half as big, these guys will shift here. We have a very, very tight turns 1 and 2, as you can see right there, right of your screen, 11-degree banking. Use all the brakes you have getting down to turn number 1. Long straightaways, tight turn 3 and 4, not quite as tight as 1 and 2. But these guys, the speed disparity is so great from the straightaway to the corner that they will actually shift. Some guys will shift on both straightaways, downshift into the corner. Some guys will only do it one time. But just about everybody here in the field will be shifting, and that may give the road race contingent that we have in the field a little bit of an advantage, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Well,
we're under the lights here for the ARCA REMAX Series, and it was a one-day show. Again, we have practice, qualifying, and then the race as it is tonight. We take a look back at qualifying that took place under the sun earlier. It was a little bit warmer when Josh Wives heated up the track as he was able to grab his first career pole in the ARCA REMAX Series. Second quick on the racetrack today was Mark Mitchell in that number 4.
Yeah, good job. Second place finisher earlier this year at Daytona. Has his best career start, as you mentioned. So both guys in the front row, best career starts here in the ARCA REMAX Series.
And amazingly enough, we're talking about a guy like Josh Wise and Mark Mitchell. We haven't talked a lot about Josh Wise's teammate, like Michael McDowell, who we've talked about quite a bit in the past because he was the one who's been challenging Frank Kimmel. Jim Trado.
Michael McDowell's about to climb into his car. He's not at the head of the grid for a change. 7 times this year he's won the pole position, but tonight, Michael, you're back in 10th. I'm wondering, big picture and the race tonight, are you worried at all starting 10th?
No, we had a great car. Eddie Sharp Racing, Z-Line Design, Mission Residential Dodge was awesome in race runs. A little bit off in qualifying, but that's okay. We haven't won a race yet from the pole, so hopefully we can get our 3rd win tonight and prove that to be true.
He'll get strapped in, guys. 4 spots better than the man standing with Ray Dunlap. Ray?
Well, that'll be Frank Kimmel. He's actually sitting by here, Jim, as he's climbed into his race car. But this is a new race car to this team, and they got it right after a big crash at Pocono. And after that race, Frank Kimmel's point lead had gone all the way down to 20. But the last 2 races have been victories, and Frank, I got to wonder, you start midfield tonight. Do you chase a victory tonight, or are you points racing?
Well, you know, Ray, you know me and been around this a long time, but we pretty much point race every night. But, you know, the best way to gain the most points, as they say, is to win the race. And, you know, this Pork Ford Fusion is really a good race car, and it's kind of turned around our program here. And didn't qualify all that great today, but I think we got a pretty good car, so hopefully we can get up there.
2 consecutive victories for the number 46 team, and they are back on top of the points, guys.
Frank Kimmel with a 95-point lead over Michael McDowell. And we talk about where Frank Kimmel is normally good. Every racetrack Frank Kimmel is good at, but here he's never finished out of the top 10, Phil.
As you can see, he won back in 2001. 10th was his worst finish here out of the 5 races back last year, but very, very competitive field of cars here at Gateway.
This points battle has really gone down to 2 guys. We've got Frank Kimmel and Michael McDowell, again, only separated by 95 points. Will that get closer tonight? We're going to find out right after this. Welcome back. Just outside of St. Louis for the Gateway ARCA 150. Your REMAX ARCA starting grid will roll across the top of the screen. Again, Josh Wise, Mark Mitchell making up row number 1 tonight. We talked a little bit, and you touched on the fact that there are some drivers that have some road racing experience. One of those is 18-year-old Colin Brown. Now, he's making his first ARCA REMAX Series start tonight, and so he's got his, I guess, hands full with a field that is very impressive. Right, Ray Dunlap?
Absolutely, Rick, and I talked with Colin Brown just a few moments ago. I said, tell me just a little bit about how road racing and those type of Rolex cars are similar to stock car racing and the car that you're sitting in right now. He says, I can summarize it very easily, Ray. They've got 4 wheels and a steering wheel, and other than that, they're nothing alike whatsoever. He said he had a great time today, though, trying to get his feet wet in this type of racing. He's going to run 2 more races this year, hoping to go to Chicagoland and Talladega. Rick?
Yeah, and Ray, they're talking about a full 2008 series season for him next year, so a big career move for Colin Brown. Take a look at some of these other Rolex Series alumni.
Yeah, we talk about Michael McDowell all the time. Justin Marks had his career best finish last week, finished second, a great run at Milwaukee. And Andy Lally had a top 10 in his first ever ARCA REMAX start after having a top 10 in the Busch race at Watkins Glen just a few weeks ago.
Hey, Jim Trado, what else you know about Justin Marks?
Well, Justin Marks finished that incredible second-place finish a week ago. A lot of momentum coming into this race with that very same ex-Ganassi race car. But he, of course, has a road racing background, which plays into his hand here. He went in detail to show me physically what he will do when he goes into turn 1. He's going to try to get shifting done before he enters the corner, under braking. He also did try and practice the fact that if he has to pass someone in mid-corner, he may do a mid-corner shift in 1 and 2. So that will play into his hand as he tries to maneuver around this 1.25-mile racetrack. So Justin Marks high on confidence from the second place run a week ago. The very same race car he hopes to put at the front once again tonight.
Justin Marks coming off of that career best finish from a week ago, looks to get his car 1 spot better. Maybe find victory lane tonight under the lights for the Gateway ARCA 150. We'll see the green flag when we come back to Gateway. Speed's coverage of the ARCA REMAX Series from Gateway is presented by REMAX. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. And brought to you in part by Prescription Flomax. Cars rolling around the grid here at Gateway International Raceway. We'll ride along with a few different cars tonight. One of those being Gabby DeGarlo. She's driving the Great Clips Chevrolet tonight. She'll start in the 33rd position. So we'll see if she can make her way through the field. Actually, 3 females in the race tonight, Gabby being one of them.
We're also going to ride along with that 11 car, the Nortrack Show Rotella T Chevrolet for Brian Silas. Brian's going to start in the 22nd position. As you can see, his best finish this year, 8th twice, but he's had a couple good runs going, maybe possible top 5 finishes, and had some trouble late. So Brian Silas looking to improve on that 8th place career best here tonight.
We've got a good vantage point of what it's going to look like up front. We're riding along with Martin Mitchell in that number 4 Aragon Dodge. He starts in his career best position today in 2nd. And we will see if he has got anything for pole sitter Josh Wise at the start of this race. Have the opportunity to ride along with him. Now we take a look at our race analysis for tonight's race. It's 120 laps, 150 miles. Now we think the pit window right around 70 to 75 laps.
Yeah, most of the teams talk about making a couple pit stops, maybe, maybe 1. You could do it on 1 pit stop certainly, but most of the teams talking about possibly two pit stops, 4 tires.
Before the green flag flies, let's get final thoughts from Ray Dunlap.
You know, Rick, whenever you get ready to chase a championship in the ARCA REMAX Series, you got to put a big asterisk by race 17 through 20. That's because these teams will be running 4 events in the schedule of 13 days. Last Sunday they were at Milwaukee, tonight here at Gateway. Then on Monday for a Labor Day Classic, it's off to DuQuoin on the mile dirt. And then the next Saturday it'll go to Chicagoland Speedway. These 4 races are the 4 that you've got to be prepared for if you're going to have a shot at winning the ARCA REMAX Series title. Jim?
And right, for Justin Allgaier, it's more than getting a chance to race. He'll have, matter of fact, race a midget race and a Silver Crown race in DuQuoin before the ARCA boys roll in on Monday. But here at Gateway International, Jason Allgaier has run 4 times now. He's never qualified outside the top 10, including tonight, but he's never finished better than 25th. He said, all I did during practice, me and Larry Moore worked on turn 1, entry to turn 1 and exit off for turn 2. I think that's the key to run tonight. Stay on the bottom, because that will give you a lot better track position if you can keep it down low in that tricky first corner.
And that's a great point, Phil. I mean, this is a tricky racetrack. A lot of guys were saying that they wanted to be good in 1 and 2, and they're almost not giving up in 3 and 4, but they're not working so hard with 3 and 4 as they think 1 and 2 will be the place where they can make moves.
Yeah, most of the cars are talking about, teams are talking about being real slow off of turn 2. That's why these guys are shifting here, because the corner is so tight. They need that extra bit of oomph up off the corner. So it's going to be interesting to see the guys that shift on both straightaways and the guys that only shift on one straightaway.
40 cars all in line as they come to the green flag. We're underway at Gateway. Good start for Josh Wise. He will take the point. Mark Mitchell will fall in just behind him. Justin Allgaier. Michael Annett, another name that kept coming up in the garage as the car to watch tonight.
And only 2 starts before for Michael Annett, but he finished 3rd in his very first start from the pole at Iowa Speedway. Look at Michael McDowell on the inside.
McDowell already making it 2 and 3 wide as they went down the backstretch. Now he's on the inside and looking at the back bumper of that 39 of Pete Shepard, who looked very strong earlier today in practice.
Yeah, Michael was so confident in his race setup for this car. He knew he gave up a little bit qualifying, but as you can see, Brian Silas right there in the Shell Rotella T Nortrack Chevrolet. But Michael McDowell really felt like he had the best race setup of anybody here.
A lot of cars to get by there for Brian Silas. That's the vantage point he has. Justin Allgaier and Martin Mitchell battling for second right now. Allgaier to the inside. He'll try to take the position away.
Yeah, Michael Annett is going to try to follow him by. Justin Allgaier was so good, as Jim told us, has always been qualified well, but never really parlayed that into a good finish. And talking to his dad before the race, and they said, we need a good finish here. We need this car for next week at Chicagoland.
Look at Michael Annett, the way he's able to pull away from Martin Mitchell when they came out of that turn.
You can listen to the RPMs in that engine right there as he comes off the corner. Mark Mitchell, that thing is really, really lugging coming off the corner there.
They talk about wanting to brake hard before they start turning. A lot more difficult to be braking as you're trying to turn.
It really is, especially down in turn number 1. You stand on the brakes going down into turn number 1. You use all you got. We see Michael Annett look to the inside of Justin Allgaier. Just because Justin Allgaier is up, that isn't necessarily a bad thing. You can get some pretty good grip up in the middle of the racetrack, especially down in 1 and 2.
Ray Dunlap.
Rick, whenever you look at the most laps led at this speedway, that belongs to Joey Miller. He won here in 2005 and he led 107 laps. Well, the car that he used to win that night is underneath the wheel of Michael Annett. That number 32 car is from Country Joe Racing. It's the exact same car that Miller used right here at this speedway to gain that victory. And Michael Annett comes into this race with a great deal of confidence, even though this is just his 3rd career start in the series.
I saw Joey Miller down in the garage here. I think Joey maybe going to run the DuQuoin race on Monday, the Labor Day Classic, as Ray called it, up in DuQuoin.
Yep. Again, we talk about this being just the 3rd start for Michael Annett, a 3rd and an 8th in his previous starts, and we see Aaron Crocker in that number 98 trying to make the pass on Jeremy Clements.
Yeah, Jeremy Clements had that big win his last race out at Nashville. Came oh so close at Pocono, didn't quite get it done, but there's that 46 of Frank Kimmel, winner of the last 2 races.
I tell you what, Jeremy Clements right there, he wanted nothing to do with being away from that yellow line. He turned hard in front of Frank Kimmel so that he could get right behind that 98 of Aaron. Now Aaron Crocker moves up a little bit. We see Jeremy Clements look to the inside for the pass.
Yeah, Jeremy gets a pretty good bite coming off of turn number 2. See if he can stay up there with Aaron as they get down into turn number 3. See if Aaron gives him a little bit of room. No, she was able to pull down in front of him. Good hard racing right around the 10th, 11th position right there for Jeremy Clements and Aaron Crocker.
Side-by-side racing. Justin Marks on the inside of Frank Kimmel. And this is a racetrack, a very flat racetrack. If you've got a good handling car, you can pass people. But if it's ill handling, you're really trying to get out of the way.
Oh, you really are, and it's hard to get out of the way. There's really no place to hide here at this racetrack. But as you can see, Frank Kimmel leading Justin Marks, and there's Colin Brown and that number 99 Roush Fenway car.
Making his way up toward the front. And the guy who's leading it at the front, Josh Wise, in the number 22 leading here at Gateway International Raceway. We'll be back with more racing for the ARCA Series right here on Speed. Welcome back. Josh Wise still out in front of the field. Justin Allgaier holding on to second. Michael Annette's dropped to third. Then it's Mark Mitchell and Dexter Bean. Actually, Michael Annette's moving up. It was Mark Mitchell who's dropped back. Josh Wise already putting a few cars a lap down.
I'll tell you a guy that's having a good run right now is Dominic Casola. Great qualifying effort, qualified in the 6th position. He finished 8th for his career best just a few weeks ago at Pocono, so it should be no big surprise that Dominic is running well here. Again, we talked about at the very top of the show how much this racetrack is like a small Pocono, about half as big as Pocono, right. But these guys shifting. Dominic Casola has a great run going.
And Josh Wise continuing to lead the field around here. You see the REMAX running order on the top of the screen. Casola in 6th. McDowell second in the points is running 7th. And rounding out our top 10 is Brian Keselowski. Where's Frank Kimmel? Well, in 13th right now. So Frank Kimmel chasing Michael McDowell again. 95 points separated the two of them in the points championship coming into this race. Kimmel looked very strong in practice, but Michael McDowell obviously another one of those cars that we would expect to run toward the front. Ray Dunlap.
Well, you got to watch the brake temperature on this racetrack, and Patrick Donahue, his crew chief, is telling him that it's looking like your rotors are a little bit too hot right now. You might want to ease off on your entry into the corners. Now, Michael McDowell is running an overdrive on his transmission, which allows him not to get into the chip too much when he comes down the front straightaway. But sometimes that means your entry speed's a little too hard, and you get to get really hard on the brakes. And these guys talked about it all throughout practice today. Easy on the brakes. We got to make sure we finish this race and every race throughout the course of the season. So Patrick, the crew chief, certainly has his eyes on it.
Another big thing as far as coming to a racetrack like this, it's so flat, you've got to slow down. I mean, they're upwards of 180 miles an hour, 185 when they're down the straightaway, and they got to slow way down on these flat turns.
Yeah, Michael McDowell, you can see the brake rotors like they're glowing, but he is one of the guys that is shifting twice. So that transmission will actually help his brakes a little bit. That will help the car slow down a little bit versus going in there into turn 3 like a lot of drivers will. Just leave it up in high gear. They don't get that extra added slowing down factor from the engine. So Michael McDowell is one of the guys that feels very, very comfortable shifting. Actually feels like it helps his rhythm. So he will do it on both straightaways. He will upshift, center the straightaway, and downshift as he gets down into the corners.
Here's a battle for 10th right now. Brian Keselowski in the number 5. Then it's Brian Clausen in the 40 just behind him. And rounding out that 12th position is Frank Kimmel in the 46. So those three battling for the top 10 spot. Again, going by the 4-lap traffic of Norm Benning in the 84. Jeremy Clements with problems in the 3. What's going on, Jim?
The indication is the left front brake rotor may have come apart. It may have broke. It may have shattered. The crew is telling Jeremy Clements to kill the motor. It is a left front brake rotor issue. The rotor is gone now. The team is telling driver Jeremy Clements. A disappointing run for these guys after they won the guitar in Nashville. This is their next race back and looking for better things, obviously.
Other problems on the racetrack. The 32 of Michael Annette also on the access road, about to come onto pit road.
Looks like that may be a left front tire gone down. It is a left front flat tire on Michael Annette. You know, we saw a lot of tire problems at Pocono with a left front tire. This is actually the exact same tire that Hoosier brought here that they ran at Pocono, and it looks like a left front flat tire for Michael Annette.
So he will come onto pit road right now. We've completed 17 laps. We're on lap 18. You see the 21 also on pit road. That's Jeremy Petty just in front of that 32. And they've got the hood up on that car. Ray Dunlap, what's going on down there on pit road?
Well, I want to add real quick on the 21, Jeremy Petty. Today is actually his 25th birthday, so trying to celebrate there. But they have an ignition problem of some kind, or they feel like maybe some of the spark plug wires have come off. So they're taking a look under the hood there. And you're right, it was a left front flat on the TMC race car of the 32. They're on their way back to the racetrack.
See Jeremy Clements, number 3, get pushed behind the wall. So a short night for Jeremy Clements after coming off of such a great finish just 2-3 weeks ago when he won at Nashville. Josh Wise still dominating over the field right now. He's got 2.3 seconds over Justin Allgaier, who's running second. Then it's Mark Mitchell. And the 6 of Dexter Bean, Michael McDowell, rounding out your top 5. Tomorrow, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series quakes the ground here at Gateway International Speedway. Travis Kvapil, Ron Hornaday, and Johnny Benson have kept point leader Mike Skinner out of victory lane in the last 3 races. Well, can they do it again? Skinner's never led a lap here at this racetrack. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series live tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, only on Speed. And you see smoke rolling out from underneath that number 5. And that is Brian Keselowski. He has blown the left front tire, and so we're under our first caution.
Another left front tire problem. We saw Michael Annett have one. Now Brian Keselowski, and he made some contact with the outside wall. You can see the right front fender wrinkled a little bit. Here you can see pancake the right side of that Lucas Oil Chevrolet. So tough break for Brian Keselowski.
Yeah, Phil, you know, we saw issues with the left front tires, and everybody kept saying, well, is camber the issue? Are we running too much camber at a racetrack that's so flat like this?
Well, it's a combination of several things. Number one, it's camber. It's camber gain, how much, as your car travels, how much camber actually is added to the wheel. And then also, you can see right there, there's a contact. The left front tire obviously already flat. Brian goes up and makes some contact in the turn 1 wall there. And also, you know, lack of air pressure. So here comes Michael McDowell on pit road a little bit early right here. He may want to take a look at that left front tire.
He was running 5th. Mark Mitchell just in front of him when this caution came out, and so Michael McDowell making his way onto pit road. Maybe some adjustments that Patrick Donahue wants to make to that number 2, and so they bring him onto pit road to do just that. Jim Trado. Let's go to Ray.
Yeah, I'll try this one, Rick, because they're going to take a ½ pound of air pressure out of the left side to put 4 tires on this Dodge Charger, and also going to pull a piece of tape off. They felt like the engine temperature was just a little bit too hot. Seems to me maybe just a little bit early for tires here, but Patrick said he wasn't happy with the handle on the race car, so they're going to put 4 tires on this Make-A-Wish Charger, put him back out to the racetrack.
Guys, Aaron Crocker is in, as well as the 11 of Brian Silas. They're pitting together down here at the head of the pit road. I checked with Randy Seals, the crew chief on Aaron Crocker's cars. They're putting on right side tires, now lefts. 4 tire changes down here for both Crocker and Silas. Crocker had a small miss in the engine that cleared itself within a half lap. Eerily similar to the last time she had issues with ignitions. Silas, no real changes, just 4 tires and fuel for Silas as Crocker beats him out.
You hear Silas killing the engine when they dropped it from the jack, and so had to refire that car before he got out on the racetrack.
A little bit early for pit stops here. Only 23 laps, actually 24 laps, and these guys are on pit road putting tires on.
Josh White stayed out on the racetrack, as did the 23 of Josh Krug, running right behind him, but it's the 6 of Dexter Bean that scored in second. And welcome back to Gateway. Again, we are just to the east of St. Louis in Madison, Illinois, just across the border. Frank Kimmel, when he comes back, or when he came back out on the racetrack, he was scored in the 17th position. We take a look at his lead over McDowell the past 5 races after Kentucky, 145-point lead. So a big point lead there. And then Pocono, the problems for Kimmel, dropped that point lead to just 20.
Yeah, Frank got involved in an accident there, but that really necessitated him buying this very car right here that Ray was talking about early on from the Roush Fenway team, and Robbie Reiser in particular. This obviously is one of Matt Kenseth's old cars. As you can see, the car is still painted like it was when it was in the DeWalt colors, and Frank Kimmel, ever since he got this car, he has been really good. 3rd at Nashville, you can see right there, 1 Milwaukee. Also sandwiched a win at Springfield on the dirt, involved in the middle of that, not in this car. But Ray, Frank Kimmel loves this race car, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, it's such a different animal. He said this thing turns through the corner so much better than any of the other cars that they had for speedway type racing. He pitted there on lap 23. They raised the track bar just a little bit and put 4 tires on it. I think anytime you see that 2 car come down pit road, you'll see the 46 come with him.
Little strategy taking place there. The 98 of Aaron Crocker will restart just in front of Frank Kimmel. Again, out in front of the field, it is Josh Wise, Dexter Bean, Dominic Casola, Philip Magilton, and Justin Marks. They're your top 5 as we are still under the yellow condition. They were continuing to clean up the racetrack, and I believe this will be the signal for 1 to go.
We're going to get 1 to go here. Let's see if we can make contact with Frank Kimmel. Hey, Frank Kimmel, Phil Parsons, can you hear me?
Gotcha, Phil.
How is that port forward so far there, Frank?
Not too bad, Phil. We got a lot of traffic there at the beginning, trying to be a little careful. Came down pit road there, put on a set of tires, and we'll see. Try to make it a little bit better. A little bit too tight, middle out right now, but Sport Fusion's a pretty good car. We'll try to get to the end.
We've already seen a couple left front tires go down, one on Michael Annett and one on Brian Keselowski. Any concern about that left front?
Sure, that's why we decided to pit, just to make sure we didn't have that problem. Points racing, you know all about that, buddy.
All right, buddy, get 1 to go, about a half lap till the green. Make your way to the front, bud.
Okay, Phil, thanks.
Right behind him, that's the number 11 of Brian Silas, riding along with him. He's currently in the 17th position. Again, he started this race 22nd. Stuart, Florida native.
Think about the top 9 cars right now in the running order stayed on the racetrack. Michael McDowell will restart this race in 10th, and he was obviously one of the cars that came down pit road, put tires on.
Yet only 24 cars now on the lead lap. The last car on the lead lap as we get ready to restart is Brian Keselowski in the number 5. And he had left front tire issues as well. Green flag back in the air as we're back to racing.
Dexter Bean is all over the back of that 22 of Josh Wise. Looks to the inside for just a moment. Not able to make anything happen yet.
The 23 of Josh Krug just behind them, and he restarted on the inside of the 22. He's a lap down. I talked to Josh after practice. He said, well, he goes, here's the issue. My car's a little bit tight in the corner. Actually, in 1 and 2, it's a little tight in 3 and 4. Actually, it's tight on the straightaways. And I said, that's not a good thing, right? He goes, no, we're having problems. So they were fighting a tight issue. And a lot of drivers were saying they almost had to be a little bit loose in 3 and 4 for their car to be good in 1 and 2.
Yeah, very typical because of the tighter radius of that corner down in 1 and 2. It's banked a little bit more, about 2 degrees more than 3 and 4, but a lot tighter radius, and that is very typical of this racetrack. You need to be free down at 3 and 4 so you can be good, especially up off of 2.
It's the battle for 1 and 2. A guy moving up through the field. We talked about him earlier. It's Colin Brown in that number 99.
Hey, look at that 48 car, though. Look to the inside. That's Carl Long. He's given that 48 car a good ride. Carl is a great race car driver. We've seen him run some Busch races over the years, even Cup races and a few truck races, but he's given that 48 car a good ride here.
Looking to the inside of Colin Brown now. Colin Brown, again, a Roush Fenway development driver, and just behind him, Carl Long in that number 48.
Both of these guys stayed on the racetrack on this most recent caution flag.
And only 1 caution has come out here. We've completed 32 laps of racing. Your top 10, Josh Wise, Dexter Bean, Dominic Casola, Justin Marks, Philip Magilton are your top 5. And it's Colin Brown in that number 99. Carl Long in the 48 just behind him. Patrick Sheltra in the 60 is running 8th. Michael McDowell in 9th. And rounding out the top 10, the 87 of Andy Lally.
We have 3 road racers right now up in the top 10 with Justin Marks running 4th, Michael McDowell 9th, and Andy Lally running 10th. So the road racers are very well represented here at Gateway.
Yeah, and you mentioned the fact that, you know, they may have a little bit of an advantage in the fact that in road racing you shift a lot more.
Yeah, you really do, and they're used to that, certainly. And I know I was talking to Michael McDowell, and I mentioned a few minutes ago, so we see Patrick Shelter move to the inside of Carl Long. In fact, and look at Michael McDowell going to make it 3 wide, getting in 3.
So Shelter's going to drop back just a bit. Carl Long in front of him, and we hear the caution has come out once again. You see the smoke and the problems on the backstretch.
That's the 98 right there of Aaron Crocker.
Gabby DiCarlo. are on board on that Great Clip Chevrolet. Also involved, Jason Hedleski in the 75 got turned around.
See a lot of damage to that 98 car right there of Aaron Crocker. He leads the ARCA REMAX Super Speedway Challenge coming in here. He has a pretty comfortable lead right now, but a lot of damage to that Evernham Dodge.
So the second caution of the night coming out on lap 35. We take a look back at why this caution came out.
Aaron's going to try to make her way to pit road. Here it is right here. Looked like Aaron might have made just a slight bit of contact with the 75 of Jason Hedleski, and when she did, then Gabby DiCarlo had nowhere to go. That impeded Aaron's progress. Gabby ran in the back of her. Watch this right here.
Yeah, the contact was actually, and I can't make out the number on that.
I think that was the 75 of Jason Hedleski, was it not?
No, Jason was over here, spun out on the side to the left of us. So these two cars got involved, but I'm going to try to figure out who got into the back of the 98 of Aaron Crocker.
Probably going to be somebody that comes down pit road with some damage.
Yeah,
how about that 25 car?
It was
possibly?
the 25. That's exactly who it was. It was the 25 of Ryan Fisher that got into the back of the 98. You see all the damage to the front end as they come onto pit road.
It's the Venturini Motorsports car. Ryan Fisher making his ARCA REMAX debut.
So there were 4 cars involved in this one: the 98, the 90, the 75, and the 25. And Aaron Crocker will have the damage to the back end of that car. See where that 25 got into the back of the 98, got her turned around, and as she was turned around, the 90 of Gabby DiCarlo with nowhere to go got involved in that one as well.
There's Gabby DiCarlo right there, the Great Clips Chevrolet. Gabby had a problem qualifying, went out to qualify, and the car missed very, very badly. I talked to her car owner as we see our leaders on pit road right now.
Here they come. They're going to be completing the 36th lap of this race. Again, 120 scheduled for 150 miles from this 1.25 mile racetrack. And Josh Wise and Dexter Bean making their way down pit road to their pit stalls. Peeling off first, the 6 of Dexter Bean. Josh Wise will be all the way down at the end. Jim?
Both the leaders complaining of a little bit tight in the center. Josh Wise neutral in turns 3 and 4. His new crew chief Wayne Carroll has made the call to make 4 tire change. Hoosier radio's going on. A track bar adjustment and a little bit of air pressure going down just a pound or less of air on Josh Wise's Toyota. Again, this is the very same car Josh Wise drove the last time he was in the ARCA REMAX Series, but he hasn't won a pole before. We'll see if he makes that into magic and a victory here as he's first one off pit road.
Colin Brown also coming off of pit road now as they've made some adjustments there, Ray.
Yeah, just air pressure adjustments on that right front and the right rear on that number 99 car. He's saying he's a little bit tight rolling through the corners, but he said 1 and 2's not too bad, but actually 3 and 4 is worse, which you would think would be just the opposite. But Colin Brown trying to do a little bit of learning here, making air pressure adjustments from Jeff Campy on the right side.
So our second caution of the night has come out at Gateway. We're underway with the Gateway ARCA 150. We'll be back with more Green Flag Racing. FoxSports.com and SpeedTV.com form the most powerful online team in NASCAR. For breaking news, in-depth analysis, detailed driver stats, and more, log on to SpeedTV.com right now. Track cleanup continuing from our most recent caution. Again, a 4-car pileup. Aaron Crocker, Gabby DiCarlo, 75 of Jason Hedleski, and that 25 driven by Ryan Fisher, all involved. And as most of the field came down pit road, it was the one of Dominic Casola who stayed out on the racetrack. He and 48 of Carl Long have now moved into the first and second positions. Jim Trado.
Guys, one very good reason why Dominic Casola is doing so well here is Andy Belmont has asked, and he got the cooperation of Chad McCumbee. Chad started the year racing for Andy Belmont and won at Pocono. actually for the car with the Petty Enterprises team. So what they did is Chad McCumbee agreed, as he's sitting on the pit box, you can see here with Andy Belmont, for the first hour of practice today, it was Chad McCumbee in this one car. It was not Dominic Casola. So the confidence they have in the car, I asked Chad a moment ago, how close was the car before and after you were in it? He said the car was close. I just had to give Dominic the, the confidence really to get this car fast. So he spent a 1 full hour in this car. So McCumbee trying to help out Andy Belmont, his buddy here on the pit box, watching intently, also trying to make sure this car is fast, as Dominic Casola in his first season of racing here hasn't been this strong all season today.
He really had a great qualifying run. He parlayed that limited amount of practice time into a 6th place qualifying effort. So good job by Dominic Casola, and thanks to Chad McCumbee for helping out. And that's actually, Chad won 2 races this year in the ARCA REMAX series. In addition to that Pocono win, he won at Nashville the first time around.
It was a big weekend for him at Pocono, getting to get his first ride in a Cup Series car. And he started that off with the ARCA REMAX series win at that racetrack. We see on the inside of row number 1, the 32 of Michael Annett. We talked about that being a force to be reckoned with tonight, but a left front tire going down for Michael Annett early on in this race relegated him to a lap down position. So he's fighting to get back on the lead lap. He'll restart on the inside of row number 1. If he's able to get in front of that number 1 and stay there until a caution comes out, then he would be able to gain that lap back. Green flag back in the air.
This is a good opportunity for Michael Annett to get that lap back. He has a little fresher tires than does Dominic Casola in that one car. Dominic has not stopped yet this entire race.
Dominic with a great restart. He was able to jump out to 2 car length lead over Michael Annett. Now Annett will have to try to get by him. And look at Michael McDowell trying to make the pass early on the 48 of Carl Long.
Yeah, Michael McDowell would love to get up there, lead this race, get 5 bonus points, and inch a little bit closer to Frank Kimmel.
Into the big picture, looking for a championship, someone other than Kimmel, other than named Kimmel in the ARCA REMAX series winning in this century.
It's about a decade.
Nobody else has done it.
It's about a decade for Frank Kimmel.
Kimmel has won since 2000, and he had a win before that. So 8 championships for Frank Kimmel in the ARCA REMAX series, and his closest competitor right now running in the 3rd spot, and that's Michael McDowell.
Yeah, keep an eye on that 40 car right behind Michael McDowell. That's Brian Clausen. Brian has had a terrific season. He's only raced 4 times in the ARCA REMAX series, 2 runner-up finishes, a 5th and then a 14th. So great job by Ganassi development driver Brian Clausen.
Yeah, that most recent second came at Nashville. As we look at Michael Annett again trying to get by Dominic Casola. That's not for position, but it is for the opportunity of Michael Annett to be back on the lead lap. And he is working diligently to take that position away, as Michael McDowell has taken 2nd away from Carl Long.
Carl's going to fight back on the outside. Does a pretty good job hanging in there. Brian Clausen's also going to get by the 48 of Carl Long. Remember, no lucky dog in the ARCA REMAX series. So if you're going to get your lap back, you're going to have to earn it. That's what Michael Annett is done right now. If the caution were to come out, he would be able to circulate all the way around the racetrack and get that lap back. He would restart on the tail end of the lead lap.
So another guy who stayed out on this most recent caution is that 46 of Frank Kimmel. And look at him making the move now as he goes to the outside of Carl Long here at Gateway.
Yeah, I'm sure brother and crew chief Bill Kimmel adjusted on that 46 car a little bit on his pit stop. Frank stopped back on the lap number 24 caution. He's had a chance to adjust on that car, stayed out on this most recent round of pit stops. But they only ran about 10 more laps than did the cars that pitted on this most recent caution flag.
And again, we expected the pit window to be between 70 and 75 laps. Dominic Casola still on that strategy right now, as we've completed 44, coming up on 45 laps of racing. And Dominic Casola has not left the racetrack yet as far as coming onto pit road.
Dominic Casola is really doing a good job on those older tires. We know Michael McDowell has newer tires right there. You can see right there, last lap he was almost a mile an hour faster than Dominic Casola, but again, fresher tires.
So now again, Michael Annett is in front of Dominic Casola. If a caution were to come out, Michael Annett would be able to go all the way around the racetrack, tack onto the back of the field, so he would be back on the lead lap. Actually, he is officially on the lead lap right now because he's in front of the number 1. Dominic Casola is leading this race in the number 1. Right behind him is the 2 of Michael McDowell running second, then Brian Clausen in third in the 40.
Yeah, essentially, as you see Michael McDowell try to close up on the back through the center of the corner of Dominic Casola. He would be able to, Michael's going to move to the inside, got a good run off at turn number 4, going to move to the inside. Going to try to beat him down at turn number 1 before the downshift.
He didn't make it past the start-finish line in front of Dominic Casola, but now he's gotten by him. This is where he wants to lead that lap, get the 5 bonus points, and again, continue to chip away on that lead that Frank Kimmel has.
And right now, Michael Annett says, come on, caution flag, please come out. I see that 2 car coming up behind me. I know he's strong. I need to get that caution now to get my lap back.
Came on of turn number 4 across the start-finish line. It is Michael McDowell in front of the field here at Gateway. There's your top 5. We've completed 50 laps here in the Gateway ARCA 150. We're scheduled to go 120 laps, so closing in on the halfway point. Frank Kimmel trying to take away a position from the 1 of Dominic Casola. That would be for 3rd. Brian Clausen running in 2nd, and out in front of the field is Michael McDowell.
Frank looks to the outside, going to allow Mark Mitchell to close up a little bit on the bottom. We saw Frank make passes on the outside earlier. Frank has a pretty good race car right now.
Mark Mitchell in that number 4 just behind Frank Kimmel. Good riding on board with Mark. So good view of that number 46 of Frank Kimmel.
Nice run through the center of the corner for Frank that time. Not quite able to pull up beside Dominic Casola, but Mark Mitchell's going to pull up beside Frank, or try to on the inside.
Good run for Mark Mitchell coming out of that turn.
Frank said, I'm not going to wait for you. I'm going to go to the high side, maybe try to get by Dominic Casola.
Mark Mitchell looks to the inside. Kimmel on the outside, 3 wide. Kimmel's going to have to check up because the 5, Ryan Keselowski up. Oh, he's right behind him, and he slides him. Oh, very close to hitting Frank Kimmel there was Dexter Bean. Mark Mitchell involved in this one. You see the 4, that's Dexter Bean in the 6 up top. And it looked as though there was a little more contact there as they were trying to go through between these cars that were wrecked on the racetrack.
A lot of damage to that 6 car, Dexter Bean.
That's Mark Mitchell there we're looking at.
So close to Frank Kimmel.
Oh,
I mean, Frank just about got caught getting in number 3 there as they slid up the racetrack. Philip Magilton got a piece of that.
Also involved. So our 3rd caution of the night has come out. The 4, the 6.
The 47, we know for sure. A lot of damage to that 4 car, Mark Mitchell. There's Dexter Bean. You see the window net down. Tough luck for these guys.
Dexter Bean got clipped and slid around, and at the time Frank Kimmel was running the high line, and he was just above that 6 as it got turned around, and it almost clipped that 46 of Kimmel.
Yeah, well, you know, we saw a 3 wide situation there going down towards turn number 3. Then we had some cars back off, but 3 wide here at Pocono doesn't work that well.
Or here at Gateway.
Or Gateway, either one. But you can do it at Pocono.
I know we talk about Pocono and this racetrack a lot as far as the similarities. And it's just, it's a difficult situation here. You cannot go 3 wide on this racetrack. Ray Dunlap.
There's a good bit of damage here to the Aragon Dodge Charger, and these guys are trying to assess the damage and figure out what all they need to do. On the front here, you can see that the blower is almost completely coming out of the front end, and these guys discussing about what happened on the racetrack there. Man, a 3 wide situation, pretty hard to get away from for sure. But Mark Mitchell had made a bunch of adjustments onto this car earlier on the first round of pit stops. He was tight at both ends of the racetrack, and it was really coming back to him. He had worked his way back up through the field, but they've got a good bit of work to do here to get this thing back race ready.
So the damage on the number 4, they're trying to work on that to see if they can get him back on the racetrack. One driver who's not going to be running anymore in this is Dexter Bean. We see him out of the number 6, and so Dexter Bean's night is done. Dexter coming into this race 3rd in the point standings.
Yeah, he had an outside shot at possibly gaining on Frank Kimmel and Michael McDowell if something would have gone wrong to either one of those guys, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. See, Frank's going to go by on the apron of the racetrack to try to avoid that accident site over there. A lot of debris obviously up on the racetrack.
Take another look at it. we just caught a glimpse of it as it was happening. Again, there's Kimmel on the high side. Involved in this is the 4 and the 6. The 6 goes sliding up. It's so close to Kimmel right there.
Unbelievable. Just mere inches between the 6 of Dexter Bean and the 46 of Frank Kimmel.
We saw the 21 also sliding through that. That was Jeremy Petty.
Yeah, I think they were running 3 wide. They were rapidly approaching Jeremy Petty. Right there, remember, Frank Kimmel has already backed off, and really the 4 of Mark Mitchell is sideways completely by the time he gets down into turn number 3, makes contact with the 6 of Dexter, and Dexter really makes some hard contact with the outside wall.
Yeah, we saw the rear end moving around there in that 6 as he hits the wall, so you know that that's the end of his night. Look at how close this is to Frank Kimmel right there. I mean, that's, if there wasn't contact, that was centimeters.
Yeah. And there's the point lead. If something happens to Frank Kimmel right there and Michael McDowell goes on to finish this race, watch this now.
Right along.
Looked like Dexter Bean was going to drive down to the inside.
And it's not over, Phil.
Yeah.
He slides down the racetrack and, oh, he gets clipped.
That's where
again.
Philip Magilton got the damage on the right side of his Ford.
So that number 4 back on pit road. They're going to continue to do work on it until they can get it at least good enough to go out and make minimum speed. And Mark Mitchell was obviously making a lot faster than that on the racetrack because he had qualified 2nd in this race. See, pit road is still closed. That's a sign that lets them know that they're not allowed onto pit road yet. It has not been opened yet. We're seeing them taking the access road to avoid the racetrack right now, where there's a lot of debris still on the racetrack. Again, Michael McDowell's out in front.
That's why the 1 of Dominic Casola has not made his pit stop yet. Remember, we're 55, 56 laps into this race. And Dominic Casola has not made a pit stop yet. He will make a pit stop on this caution flag as soon as pit road opens. If he pitted right now before pit road is open, then he would have to restart from the tail end of the longest line, and that would be too steep a penalty to pay.
And again, a fuel issue is not a problem for Dominic Casola because we would expect them to be able to go at least 75 laps on fuel. We've only completed 56 laps up to this point. Looking back from Brian Silas's number 11.
It's been a little bit over 30 laps since Michael McDowell came to pit road, and Brian Clausen. They pitted on lap number 24. We've just completed 56 laps. A number of those laps have been run under caution. This caution flag and the previous caution flag were where the rest of the field came down pit road.
And we see the green flag now going up, indicating that pit road is open. So now they can make their way onto pit road if they would like. It looked as though Brian Clausen had ducked onto the access road to make his way onto pit road. Dominic Casola as well in that number 1.
Michael McDowell will stay out on the racetrack. Frank Kimmel, our point leader, is on pit road.
Quite a few other cars also following them onto pit road. So Michael McDowell and the 84 of Norm Benning stay out on the racetrack. Norm not actually on the lead lap. Let's go down pit road and Ray Dunlap.
Well, Frank Kimmel has brought his race car back in. They feel like they need to continue to make air pressure adjustments here. He is just a little bit too tight in the corners. And, you know, normally we hear Frank Kimmel always saying that he's tight, but this new race car has been a lot better as far as turning through the corners. We've actually heard him say loose a few times in previous races, but tonight you pretty much figured they'd be saying tight whenever you come to Gateway. That's normally the situation. They made air pressure adjustments on the right side for that green heck fusion.
Dominic Casola also onto pit road.
Yeah, Andy Belmont's guy's going to make adjustments to that car. 4 tires put on it. See, Josh Wise was still on pit road as Dominic Casola leaves. There's the 18 right there of Billy Leslie. And the 60 of Patrick Shelter.
Following him off of pit road. So again, 3 cautions have taken place here at Gateway. We'll be back with more green flag racing after this. Speed's coverage of the ARCA REMAX series from Gateway is brought to you by Just for Men. Stay in the game with Just for Men hair color. Stay in the race. That's exactly what Brian Silas is doing, as well as Frank Kimmel and Michael McDowell staying in this race. And it was a close one, I tell you what, for Frank Kimmel moments ago.
Unbelievably close. Let's take a look at really what started this coming off turn number 2. There's Frank Kimmel right there, the Ford Fusion. Our point leader and 8-time series champion. Watch this now. This is coming off turn 2. This is when they start to go 3 wide. But watch Frank Kimmel. There's not a whole lot of room between the one of Dominic Gasol. Dominic kind of drifts up a little bit. Frank's going to drift up also. Just about makes contact, maybe even slight contact with the outside wall right before the opening where the trucks drive across the racetrack. Now Frank gets down there. He's trying to determine what to do behind the 5 of Brian Keselowski. Backs off, lets those guys go in there and crash, drives around the outside of it, almost gets clipped, and no damage.
Not a scratch. Not a scratch. Can Michael McDowell making sure he stays out of any issues or trouble. Right, Ray?
Well, we've hit the halfway point, Rick, right here as we just went by lap 60. So I want to hear from Patrick Donahue. Why not pit that time? I figured you'd be in every time you could to get tires.
Well, we finally got our track position, and the car's pretty good. We're a little down on motor, but I hate to get back there in traffic, get wrecked, tear something up. I mean, right now we're about 10 laps. We're making it on fuel to the end. So we get a little bit more caution. We might not come at all, but Mike's doing real good, and I just want to keep the thing out front, and there'll be more cautions. We'll get some tires on it here in another 20 or 30 laps. We'll be fine.
Okay. All right, well, that's interesting strategy, guys. You know, we heard a lot of these guys talking earlier today about the fact that you'd want to try to put tires on every chance you get an opportunity to, but they didn't seem to fall off a whole lot throughout the course of a run here. So interesting strategies. Kimmel came down pit road, made adjustments to get his car better, and McDowell decided to keep the track position.
He likes that track position, Ray, and clean racetrack.
Just for mid race summary, after we've crossed the halfway point, Michael McDowell out in front. That's 5 bonus points for him. Our average speed just over 86 miles an hour, 3 cautions for 20 laps up to this point. And that's something that Patrick Donahue is going to be watching, the caution laps. He mentioned the possibility of being able to stay out until the end of this race. Green flag back in the air. We are back to racing at Gateway International Raceway. Justin Marks running second in the number 65. Then it's right behind him, the 14 of Brett Rowe. Stayed out onto the racetrack. Colin Brown, the 40 of Brian Clausen are top 5.
Heavy traffic. Again, another 3 wide situation going down in turn number 3 again.
And the last time we were in a 3 wide situation, one guy is not in his race car anymore. And as a matter of fact, he's standing by with Jim Trado.
Dexter Bean is down here, running up off the lead during this race. Dexter, what did happen on that 3 wide, 4 wide?
I don't know. There's a few lap cars in the mix of things, and I think just a combination of some slow lap cars, and you got 3 fast cars that are yourself to the front, and we made it. Ended up getting 3 wide somehow, I think, and I was in the middle and found a hole, and I thought I made it, but I guess I got piled somehow, and just unfortunate for me.
Ryan Fisher in the 25 rolls down the back stretch. The caution has come out. Debris all over the racetrack.
Incredible. While we were talking to Dexter Bean there, that can happen. We saw that happen before in the Truck Series where somebody got forced into the outside wall and actually got up on their side. I believe it was Rick Crawford a few years ago.
Bobby Hamilton also.
Bobby Hamilton also.
Side.
Patrick Shelter involved. There's a 22R pole sitter. Josh Wise got a piece of that.
The 4th caution coming out in a magnificent crash here by the 25. Ryan Fisher in that car for the first time this year. Again, that's a Venerini owned race car.
Getting report, you see Michael McDowell stopping over there in turn 1 and 2. ARCA REMAX officials will put this race under red right now so they can attend to Ryan Fisher in the 25 car as well as clean up all the debris. It's all over the backstretch.
So the red flag comes out. We've completed 63 laps. Red flag coming out on lap 64. Again, the safety crews making their way onto the backstretch. You see Josh Wise on that access road to pit road, and he is going to come to a stop as well. I'm sure hearing over his radio that the red flag has come out. Field stopping in turns 1 and 2 right now.
See the window, the roof flat up on the 22 of Josh Wise. So
Damage to the right side of that car. Phil, we just caught a glimpse of that as we were talking with Dexter Bean. It was in the right side of your screen. Dexter Bean was out of the race because of the caution that had happened previously. He and Mark Mitchell got into each other in turn 3. Philip Magilton caught a little bit of that accident. And then after they had cleared the racetrack and had been racing for just a few laps, it was another problem between the 25 of Ryan Fisher and the 60 of Patrick Sheltra and the 22 of Josh Wise.
Josh is going to go ahead and make his way to pit road. He will not be able to stop and do any work on pit road during the red flag conditions.
Taking a look at Ryan Fisher, little woozy after that ride, and oh, what a ride it was. That car rolling down the backstretch, but a great sign to see Ryan Fisher out talking and looks as though he's going to climb out under his own power.
Yeah, it's great to see right there. A pretty memorable first start in the ARCA REMAX series for Ryan Fisher.
Yeah. You hear the crowd applauding as they see Ryan Fisher climbing out of that car. They'll put him in the back of the ambulance, take him to the infield care center. Let's take another look at what took place here.
See Ryan's on the outside following Billy Leslie. There's Patrick Shelter. The 11 of Brian Silas makes contact. Wow.
Up into the wall. Patrick Shelter hits him, slides him up into the wall, and then the rolls begin.
It looked like the 25 of Ryan Fisher just launched over the 60 of Patrick Sheltra. You see that car slid for a little bit right on the roof, right over top of the driver, but these cars are so well built. Here's another view. You see the 60 get sideways.
60 sideways and then into the 25. And like you mentioned, Phil, launched.
Yeah, from that first view, it looked like Brian Silas turned down, but once Patrick Shelter caught his car from being sideways, he actually drifted up the racetrack and made contact with Brian Silas.
Right along with Brian Silas here and see the view he had of this one.
Saw Brian got out of the throttle to try to give him room. He's the one that made contact with the 22 of Josh Wise. Brian did a good job of keeping his car straight.
And again, this is a look real time now. Sheltra's going to go to the right. That was Ryan Fisher in that 25. And again, Fisher is out of that car. They're going to try to put it on the rollback. And so there will be a little cleanup from Gateway International Raceway. A magnificent accident taking place on the backstretch. They'll clean it up. We'll go back to racing when we come back. Welcome back. The safety crews now taking a look at the catch fence along the backstretch. And the reason for that is we've just had our 4th caution of the night, and the damage that has taken place there was from the 25 driven tonight by Ryan Fisher. And we take a look from behind. The 60 is going to come across, hit the 25, and look at him into that catch fence. Tore the right wheel completely off of the race car.
Yeah, but that catch fence did its job. I mean, it put that car back down, did not let it go outside the racetrack. That's what that catch fence is for. Yeah, it bent a little bit, and maybe that bit some of those poles, but it did its job. You can see all the damage to the right front. That's where the car hit the catch fence. It just ripped the right front wheel assembly completely off that car.
That's the damage to the 25 car. Again, tonight driven by Ryan Fisher. Now, the driver of this car was taken into the ambulance and into the infield care center, but he was taken, or he actually was able to get out of the car on his own. So that was a great sign. We'll wait to hear the results from the infield care center when he's able to get out of there, but a wild ride for Ryan Fisher.
That was a few moments ago when Ryan was able to climb out of the car on his own power. ARCA REMAX officials right there with him.
Kind of catching his breath. It looked like he's like, wow, did I just ride through what I felt?
I've never seen a wreck like I just had.
Yeah, very amazing. We see the workers still continuing there. Well, Sunday on Speed, step into the wind tunnel with Dave Despain. Don't miss the biggest names and the biggest opinions, well, and the biggest mouths all season long. This week's guest, John Force, 14-time champion of the NHRA. Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain, Sunday 9 p.m. Eastern, live on Speed. So as the safety crews continue to work on the catch fence and clean up the racetrack, we're under red flag conditions from Gateway International Raceway. Under the moonlight and under the lights here at Gateway International Raceway. The gateway to the west, and there's the damage that's been done to the catch fence on the backstretch of this racetrack. We're hearing from the officials that they are going to try to fix that catch fence as far as the fencing to make sure for the safety of the spectators that are on the backstretch. They want to make sure that nothing has the possibility of flying off of this racetrack or out of this racetrack as the race cars are going by. And we're under red flag condition. Now we've passed the halfway point. We've completed 63 laps. We're on lap 64 of 120. Michael McDowell is out in front of the field. Justin Marks second. Third, Brett Rowe. Fourth, Colin Brown. And fifth is the 40 of Brian Clausen. Josh Wise started this race on the pole and involved in this most recent accident, but he is parked on pit road, and I believe Jim Trado is caught up with the guy he's trying to get closer to, his crew chief. Jim?
And Wayne Carroll is anxiously awaiting Josh Wise when he's able to come down pit road, but I understand there may be some confusion there. The car rolled on the red. What's the story, Wayne?
Well, you know, the official over here in our box told us we could roll down pit road and stop here, and then we started rolling, and they said, oh, no, stop, you know, so now they're kind of bickering back and forth up there trying to figure out what to do. Whatever happens, we'll just do the best we can, you know, get in here and try to get the car fixed. And
what did Josh and your spotter say about the car damage that you will have to address when he comes down pit road?
We don't think it's that bad. Josh thought he got hit pretty hard, but we looked at it on TV and the replay, and it looked like he just maybe got the side of the car into the door. Steering wheel's still straight. Everything looks good, so we'll see.
Patrick Donahue said your setups were identical, but he gave you more of the credit for getting the cars dialed in. What's the reason, Wayne? You came to this team rather late in the season, I'd say. You're now overseeing the 22, but talk about the setups and how much you play a role in this Eddie Sharp Racing team.
Yeah, they're very similar. You know, we come to the racetrack pretty close. We unload close together. His driver likes a little different thing than our driver does, you know. We go one way a little bit, he goes the other way. We try some different things. We share information back and forth and try to make the 2 and the 22 go fast.
They've been fast tonight, guys. Awaiting Josh Wise down on pit road is Wayne Carroll, the crew chief on that Toyota Camry.
Well, when you're talking about fast, obviously you've got to talk about the guy who's leading the race, and that's Michael McDowell. There's Patrick Donahue, his crew chief, that is calling all the shots from top the pit box. And Michael McDowell out in front of this field.
It makes Patrick Donahue's strategy of staying out, staying in front of all the traffic look like a pretty good strategy right now.
Yeah, especially that accident that took place again on the backstretch behind them.
Let's see if we can talk to Michael McDowell. Hey, Michael McDowell, Phil Parsons, can you hear me? Well, we're past halfway. You've got the lead, and it looks like they're trying to fix the fence. Ray Dunlap reported during our commercial break that Patrick said he has a plane to catch. He just as soon go ahead and stop this race now. What do you think?
Yeah, we were kidding there. You know, definitely, we got a good car tonight. We've been working on it a little bit. You know, we didn't qualify where we wanted to, but we knew we had a car that could race to the front. You know, we're just past halfway now, so we just got to keep on keeping this number 2 D-Line design car up front. When the pit stops kind of work out here in the next 30, 40 laps, we'll see where we're at, make a run at the end.
Yeah, Patrick said that you were really fairly close to your window on making it the rest of the way, but he said, we know there are going to be some more caution flags, so we'll probably get in and get some tires, and we'll be good to go to the end.
You know, it's tough to have the perfect strategy every time. So, you know, for us right now, we want to stay out front, kind of stay out of the mess and keep the track position. And when it gets closer to the end, we'll come in for that final stop.
I know you didn't have a view because you were up front of what happened back there, but I know when you came back around the racetrack, I don't know that you ever even went back through there. So we had a pretty heck of a wreck over here with the 25 of Ryan Fisher.
Yeah, they were telling me about it. I hope everybody's okay with what it sounds like they are. And, you know, I didn't get an opportunity to see it, but good news is I can go home and watch Speed Channel and get the highlights on Speed Report.
Well, that's what we like to hear, buddy. Great run so far. Keep it going.
Thanks, guys.
Michael McDowell looking for his 3rd win of the 2007 season. He's already grabbed a couple wins here as he is going for his first championship in the ARCA REMAX Series, trying to upset 8-time series champion Frank Kimmel. McDowell finding victory lane at Kentucky, and then right again followed that up with his Pocono win. And we're hearing that Ryan Fisher is out of the infield care center and with Ray Dunlap.
Yeah, he sure is, and we're hoping we can show him a replay here shortly. But Ryan, what an unbelievable ride. Can you tell us what it was like inside the race car?
Sky ground, sky ground. That's what it was. Sparks everywhere. I'm all right. My knee's a little sore. Face got a little cut on it, but other than that, I'm all right, I think.
I think if you get a chance to look at this replay, you will be amazed. It was really quite a crazy ride.
That's what I hear from everybody else. All I remember is Billy Venturini yelling on the radio, well, that was about the worst wreck I've ever seen, so I'm all right, so that's a good thing.
Okay, take a look right here on the monitor. We'll show it to you, and this is just amazing as you get launched up from the beginning right here.
I remember every single bit of that. I don't remember how many times I flipped. Oh, there's 3. There's a stand up, right up. I mean, yeah, that's wild. That's wild, that's for sure. It's the worst wreck I've ever taken, but at least I'm still here, which is a good thing.
Tell me about the early part of the night here, though, and your experience here. This was your first race in the ARCA REMAX series.
Yep, my debut. We just announced yesterday that we just signed with CJM Racing. I'm going under development for them, for their Busch deal and everything else, and I'm looking forward to the future. I mean, things like this happen, but that's racing, I guess. That's the way it is.
Well, the most important thing is you're standing here, you're okay, and they said make sure you tell Mom at home everything's fine.
Again, that's Ryan Fisher. Surrey, British Columbia, his hometown, and it looks as though, well, we might see a little bit of action here as they're getting ready to move the pace car back out.
He probably will not ever forget his first ARCA REMAX race.
I don't know if I'll ever forget his first ARCA REMAX Series race. We'll be right back with more. Still red flag condition here at Gateway International Raceway as they have stopped action because of an accident on the backstretch. All of the participants that were involved in it have been checked out and released from the infield care center, but the safety crew still trying to bandage up the catch fence on the backstretch. And the reason why they are doing that is because of this. We take a look at what took place there on the backstretch. And again, this is the 60th Patrick Shelter in the green car. We're going to look at that in a moment, but early on it was Brian Keselowski cutting a left front tire, getting into the wall.
Aaron Crocker got run into from behind by the 25 of Ryan Fisher. Yep. Also collected Gabby DeCarlo. Michael McDowell takes the lead from the one of Dominic Casola.
Dominic Casola grabs the lead. And then another accident. Dexter Bean sliding around, almost getting into the back of the 46 of Frank Kimmel.
Mark Mitchell also involved in that accident, as well as the 47 of Philip Magilton.
Dexter Bean walked away from that one. This is why the catch fence needed repaired. 3 times around goes Ryan Fisher.
You see that deck lid flipping around there, still held on by the tethers. And there's the ARCA REMAX officials along with track officials making repairs to the catch fence.
They have walked away from that catch fence, and it looks as though the officials are making their way around the racetrack. The track has been blown off by the jet dryers as far as the debris that was left on it. So we would say within moments they're going to be firing the cars back up and getting them started. Jim Trado.
I caught up with Sean Parker down in the Bruco development pits for Philip Magilton. He ran third last race, but this has been a whole different story. You were worried about the car having damage, but you're still sitting top 10, Sean. What is Philip saying on the radio?
Well, first of all, I'm glad to see Ryan's okay. That was a pretty wild crash back there, and glad to see everybody's okay. And I got him on a track position there a little bit, and I got to get it back for him. He's doing a great job. We got a little behind there on our strategy, so I'm debating now. We're pretty close to making it right now, but if we get a green-white checkered at the end, it's going to be very close. And 6 cars out, and we're racing in for points. And conservative or gamble for it. I don't know which way to go right now. Probably going to gamble for it.
That's why you get the big bucks. What are you thinking now? You said at the time of you pitting, you said you may be good to go the rest of the way.
Well, we need a few more caution laps, and we'll see how the time and scoring shakes out, where we line up, who's behind us on the lead lap, and we probably can do it. It's hard to pass out there. Even though we got a really good car, I think I'm going to gamble for it. That's what we come here to do, is to go win a race, and that's what we're going to do.
All right, guys, Sean Parker making the gamble with Philip Magilton's car. He has some right side damage they're trying to take a peek at. The spotter could not get a good view on it, but does not seem to be hampering their efforts right now.
And we're hearing potential gamble there by Sean Parker in the 47. Wonder what Andy Lally will do. I mean, he's ran pretty well here for his first start.
Really been impressed with Andy Lally here in the last month or so. We talked about him running a couple Busch races, and the Clorox number 47 for Wood Brothers JTG Racing had a good run going in Montreal, probably a top 5 finish, ended up losing a gear. Then he finished in the top 10 at Watkins Glen in the Busch race against all the Nextel Cup drivers, and had a good top 10 his very first ever ARCA REMAX race last week.
Right. At Milwaukee, he was able to come home with a 10th place finish. Colin Brown in that number 99, currently scored in the 4th position. So starting in 13th, he's moved up to 4th, and another impressive start for a young driver in this series.
We talked to Jeff Campy, his crew chief on this Roush development team right here, Roush Fenway, and he's very, very high on Colin Brown. He said, you know, real quick learner, was very fast. They tested up here, was very fast in the test, really caught on, and doing a terrific job here. He said, you know, we don't even know what our expectations are for this race. Yeah, we would love to finish in the top 10, but it's all about getting him track time. We know he's going to run a couple more races this year, and at 18 years old, we know he's going to be around for a long, long time.
Continuing on with our Rolex theme right now, the 65 of Justin Marks currently 2nd, so he's right behind Michael McDowell when we go to restart this race.
So impressed last week at Milwaukee with Justin Marks. Frank Kimmel caught him. They raced extremely hard towards the last few laps, and Frank was able to get by Justin Marks, but Justin has absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. A great run for him. 2 weeks in a row,
yep.
Good runs for him. He finished 4th on the dirt at Springfield, and they came right back to Milwaukee and got a good top 2 finish,
yep.
Finished in 2nd.
Career best finish a week ago at Milwaukee, coming home in 2nd, and we see the yellow flag now being waved into the air, and they will start rolling around the racetrack once again here at Gateway. Ray Dunlap.
Well, let's hear from Bill Kimmel. He's crew chief, of course, for Frank, and wondering right now about strategies here. You guys pitted at lap 57, so I got to believe with a little bit of caution here, you might be able to go the distance without pitting again. What's the plan?
I'd like to see it go green the rest of the way. And, yeah, we don't have to come back in if that was the case. But the car is not good enough to win the race right now. It's a little bit tight on exit, so we'll have to keep working on it because we're not getting up there to the front 3 or 4 cars, but we'll try to make it a little better as the day goes on, as the night goes on. But if it stayed green, I think we do have enough gas to make it to the end.
All right, guys, that's kind of the situation down here. They can go the distance here, and we heard earlier we think the 2 cars going to be coming back in for tires late in the race, so we'll see how it plays out.
Brian Silas in that Shell Rotella T, number 11, looks as though he's got a flat left front tire.
I have a feeling he's going to make a pit stop.
We're pretty sure about that. Josh Wise now in pit road, or in the pits. Jim.
Well, they're tightening the antenna. They're knocking down that roof flap. They're also banging out the right front fender. They just asked Josh if he had any flat tires. They're going to change forward. The left front does look a bit down on pressure, but they again had a lot of time to talk about what they wanted to change. He came down pit road now, still undecided whether he's going to be sent to the longest line in the back or get back out of position, but 4 tire change is the call by Wayne Carroll on this Napa Toyota. Josh pretty calm and cool behind the wheel, telling him what other changes he wants to make, just a small air pressure adjustment. They're looking at the right front once again. Looking underneath it now, as again we mentioned, brakes were an issue. They checked things over. They've got some brake nothing in hand. We'll see if that plays a role as he's down on the way. But the tubing that goes from the front grille back to the brakes to keep them cool is now in pieces here on pit road.
As we can see, the 11 of Brian Silas come down pit road. Josh Wise will have to restart this race from the tail end of the longest line because he pitted before pit road was open. So right. he will be penalized by the ARCA official.
And he was already on pit road because he was involved in that accident with Ryan Fisher. And so he was on pit road thinking he was going to roll through onto pit road and maybe get some work done on that car, but the pit road was not open when he came onto the access road, and then he rolled during the red flag condition, but he was told to stop again. He did, and so when we went back to caution, he just continued on to pit road before it was actually open. We see also the 11 of Brian Silas now on pit road. Philip Magilton also involved in that number 47. He's making his way off of pit road now and back onto the racetrack.
See right there, the flag is out. Pit road is open. Obviously, the 2 of Michael McDowell stayed on the racetrack. So Patrick Donahue was elected to keep Michael out on the racetrack.
He will stay out. We've heard some of the other drivers that are going to stay out.
There's Carl Long right there giving that 48 car a good ride. He's going to make his way back out onto the racetrack. Carl, one of the cars on the lead lap right now. We're showing 19 cars right now on the lead lap.
Mike McDowell, Justin Marks, Brett Rowe, Colin Brown. Right along with Gabby DiCarlo in that number 90. Great Clips Chevrolet.
Gabby's being shown one lap down. She's running right now in the 21st position. She caught a little piece of that accident over there with Aaron Crocker and Ryan Fisher when they got together. Also the 75 of Jason Hedleski, making his first start for Bob Shack Motorsports, was involved in that.
A little bit of damage to the right side of that 47 of Philip Magilton, Jim.
That's why they came down pit road, guys. The gambler, Sean Parker, said, you know what, if we put gas in here and check that right side, get some tape on it, he thinks a lot of guys will have to pit, so track position was not as critical, nor were tires. He came down for gas only and a patch on the right side tires for the SI Performance Ford for these guys.
So, no gamble. Gamble or no gamble? Well, we got to go no gamble on that one.
Well, he needed to take a look at the right side to make sure they didn't have any damage that was going to affect the car. You know, if the damage is in between the tires, behind the front tire, in front of the rear tire, then it probably would not have caused any problems at all. But might as well be on the safe side, and while you're in there, put double enough fuel in to know that you can make it to the end of the race.
Yellow lights go off, the flashing lights off of the pace car, meaning next time by we'll get the green flag. So again, we've had 4 cautions here. The most recent caution turned into a red flag condition as they had to clean the back stretch up, as well as fix the catch fence on the back stretch where Ryan Fisher was launched into. And then after 3 rolls down the back stretch, that one ended up on its 3 wheels. One of them was torn off. Ryan Fisher climbed out of that car, went to the infield care center, was released. And so we are about to go back to racing now. It's Michael McDowell in front of Justin Marks.
A little bit over a 23-minute red flag slowdown, but hats off to the track workers to get that, for getting that fence repaired that quickly.
Excellent job. And again, the field now all in a line behind Michael McDowell. Aaron Crocker being scored the first car a lap down, so she will start on the inside of row number 1. And again, a lap down car. They get to move to the inside of the racetrack. Those on the lead lap are on the outside for the restart. 2 road race background drivers. In front of this field, Michael McDowell, Justin Marks.
I'll tell you, Brett Rowe is giving that 31W insulation car a great ride right now.
Green flag back in the air. We're back to racing at Gateway.
Aaron Crocker was not able to get in front of our leader, Michael McDowell, to try to get back on the lead lap, on the tail end of the lead lap. Justin Marks able to clear the lap car of Aaron Crocker. Colin Brown was looking to the inside that time on the 14 of Brett Rowe. Not quite able to make the move. There's Frank Kimmel on the outside, the 46. He's driven by the 40. You're actually trying to drive by Brian Clausen. That is a battle for the 5th spot.
Brian Clausen able to get the nose back out in front of that number 40. And again, Kimmel trying to make his way around the high side. So 2 separate lines here at Gateway, and Kimmel taking the outside line. He'll take that position away, and he moves into 5th.
Trying to get by that 40 of Brian Clausen, not quite able to get it done on the backside. Drake is hanging tough on the outside.
Dangerous ground outside of Brian Clausen. Now it's a drag race to the start finish line. Again, this is a battle for 5th. Clausen still holding on to that position as Kimmel still on the outside. Now Dominic Casola on the inside of him. Justin Allgaier and this number 16 also moving up on the inside.
Frank not quite able to make it done. Looked like he was good through the corner. You see the one of Dominic Casola pull back up and actually drive by the 46 of Frank Kimmel, as well as Justin Allgaier.
So Kimmel continuing to stay on the high side of the racetrack.
Trying to work that high side to get by, as you see Justin Allgaier look to the inside of Dominic Casola, but trying to get to the high side to get by Brian Clausen. End up costing Frank a couple spots.
Side by side, Justin Allgaier, Dominic Casola, that's for position. Allgaier's going to take it away from Casola.
Justin Allgaier takes over the 6th spot now. Dominic Casola going to fight back on the inside of the racetrack.
How about this side-by-side battle at Gateway? Dominic Casola trying to chase down that 16 of Justin Allgaier now. Jim.
Guys, we talked about their strategy. He's kept the race lead and stayed out. They've only pitted once for tires and fuel. They did not even change the air pressures one bit. I just checked in with car owner Andy Belmont. He said, we're not coming back in again. We're good. This car is so perfect. We're just enjoying the race.
Boy, Justin Allgaier just drove around the outside of Colin Brown and allowed the one of Dominic Casola to catch that 99 Roush Fenway car. Justin moves up to the 5th spot.
And dropping back, Frank Kimmel, very uncharacteristic here with only 48 laps of racing to go.
Yeah, really expected Frank to move towards the front. He's already back to the 10th position right now.
He was just battling for the 5th spot, and now Pete Shepard in that number 39 looks to the inside of Kimmel.
Yeah, the 32 of Michael Annett. Remember, he was a lap down with that flat left front tire. He is back on the lead lap, back up into the top 10 right now.
Amazing. Pete Shepard again looking to the inside. Pete Shepard starting this race in the 8th position. He dropped back just a bit, but now battling with Kimmel for that 10th spot.
We heard Bill Kimmel tell us that that car is not good enough to win the race. It wasn't as good. You see the points as of now. Frank comes into this race with a 95-point cushion over Michael McDowell. If the race were to end right now, it would only be a 45-point lead for Frank Kimmel.
Big points night for Michael McDowell if he can continue to lead this field. And here Brett Rowe on the outside of Colin Brown in that number 99.
That is a battle for the 5th spot. Colin Brown going to try to get by that 14 of Brett Rowe, going to bring the 1 of Dominic Casola with him. My big question is Michael McDowell going to stay out? I think by virtue of the fact that Patrick did not bring him in on this most recent caution, he's thinking about going the entire distance.
Can he make it? I'm going to let you call this because I think you've been pretty good in the past.
I don't know. It's a long way to go, I'll tell you that.
Long way to go. Ray, what do you think?
Well, Michael McDowell just came on the radio and said, I am not pushing this thing yet. You tell me when to go. I've got lots of brakes left and plenty to go. And Patrick Donahue said, don't worry about that. Do me a favor and just think about saving fuel.
That's a good idea. If you think you're going to be close, let's save a little bit. But it doesn't look like he's saving anything as far as the competition. 4.35 seconds, the difference between Dominic Casola, Michael McDowell out in front, and Justin Marks running second. We'll be right back. This Labor Day weekend, the cars and stars of the American Le Mans Series turned Detroit's Belle Isle Park into a gear-grinding, tire-shredding, all-or-nothing Motor City battlefield. Will the B2 Penske Porsches take yet another overall win, or can Audi bounce back? American Le Mans Series from Detroit, that's tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, right here on Speed. We hope that they stay on all 4 tires during that race.
Yeah, we had one lose a tire here when he got up in the catch fence, but right now Michael McDowell has it going all his way, but he last pitted on lap number 24.
Yeah.
This is a 120 lap race, 96 laps. I know we've had a lot of caution laps since then, but I'll tell you, that is getting great fuel mileage if he can make this thing the rest of the way.
We've stopped 3 times since he stopped. We've been over probably 23 or 24 laps of caution since he stopped. But again, that's a long ways to go on 1 tank of fuel.
Yeah, well, we said the same thing about Jeremy Clements in Pocono. There's no way that he could go 135 miles on fuel. Well, he did. He went 134.5 miles on fuel and then ran out coming off the final corner for the checker flag.
He made it to the start-finish line, and he finished 3rd in that race, but he did run out of gas.
Absolutely, but I know Patrick Donahue has to be biting all his fingers right now. 96 laps here on this 1.25 mile track. That's a long way to go. I know we've had a lot of caution laps, but boy, that could be a big gamble with a point championship possibly on the line.
Oh yeah, only 45 points behind Frank Kimmel right now as they run. Kimmel back in the 12th position now, so he's probably gained some spots or at least points on Kimmel since the last time we looked at the points battle. He really needs to start taking it easy on fuel.
Yeah, he's got a 6-second lead right now on our second place car of Justin Marks. There's a battle for second right there. Brian Clausen trying to take over second from Justin Marks.
We talked about the Rolex Series experience in some of these drivers. Michael McDowell, Justin Marks trying to hold on to second. Here comes Brian Clausen. Jim Trado, what have you got down from pit road?
I'll just tell you that the 40 car team was pretty excited, but there is a strategy being played out by Justin Marks in his pits. They said they're not coming down pit road. He came on lap 36. Crew chief car owner Robbie Benton said, we're staying out. We have a good race car. We wanted a long run. We've got it now. So we'll see how it plays out. As again, he had a long run last week at Milwaukee and got passed late in the going, just as he did now with Brian Clausen for a top 3 spot.
Oh, and problems. We're hearing car in the wall. That's Pete Shepard in the 39. The caution comes back out. That's exactly what Michael McDowell and his crew chief wanted to see.
Yeah, I think Patrick Donahue has to keep Michael McDowell on the racetrack. You know, we're inside of 40 laps to go right now. It's very difficult to pass at this racetrack. I don't think Michael McDowell will want to give up the lead. I think they're just going to hope that this reduced speed under caution laps is going to give them enough extra fuel for this thing to get to the end.
Looks like another tire issue. That's the remnants. One of these Hoosier tires that obviously has come off of that 39. We see Patrick Donahue on top of that pit box talking to his crew members. Probably telling them, guys, just take a break, relax. We're not coming.
There's a right front tire damage to Pete Shepard. Pete was having a good run in this Rulo Brothers number 39 Ford. We'll have about 35 laps to go when the cars get back around here. That looks like the two of Michael McDowell is on the access road coming towards pit road.
They're going to bring him onto pit road. There are 18 cars on the lead lap. And so I guess Patrick Donahue has decided that with fresh tires and enough laps, he thinks he can get back to the front. Justin Marks also on pit road. Again, now you've got to look at big picture here with Michael McDowell and Frank Kimmel. Kimmel was going to be able to stay on the racetrack because of fuel.
But he was backing up.
But they came onto pit road because of adjustments. Ray Dunlap.
Well, it was the driver that made this call. Patrick Donahue said, let's stay out there. Frank's got an engine going down or some kind of a problem. We need the track position. And Michael McDowell said, no, give me the fresh tires. I can work my way back up and we can still win this thing. I think it's the right call. Let's do it. So they come in here and they put on 4 fresh tires. Jim?
4 tires is a call for Justin Marks and the Crocs Dodge. It turns out they were very close on fuel. If they didn't have this caution, they may have run out. So they did beat Michael McDowell at the pits. The team extremely happy with the 4 tires, no adjustments, and enough fuel to go to the finish.
You're seeing the 46 coming off of pit road. Moments ago, the hood was up on the 46 of Frank Kimmel. Again, that's Pete Shepard getting into the wall. The reason for our 5th caution. His right front tire exploding on him, tearing up the right front fender of that car as well.
Yeah, that flat tire did more damage, I think, than even possibly hitting the wall. There's Frank Kimmel coming back out on the racetrack.
And so as Frank Kimmel was dropping back, Michael McDowell, Patrick Donahue decided we think we can still win this with a stop. So they came onto pit road. Kimmel also came down. Let's find out how it shakes out.
Welcome back to Gateway International Raceway. Frank Kimmel is on pit road with the number 46. They are putting 4 fresh tires on this thing, and there is some sort of a problem underneath the hood. They had to push him to get him restarted here. They come back down pit road on lap 87. We'll try to follow up with crew chief Bill Kimmel and get an update.
Yeah, and it was weird. It seemed like he might not have first gear, because when he had it revved up and was trying to start, and it just dropped way down, like he was starting in 2nd or 3rd gear even.
Yeah, he had a clutch problem last week, won the race, overcame that clutch problem in Milwaukee and won the race. There's crew chief and brother Bill Kimmel right there.
And Ray. So I'm sure we're going to hear that story here shortly.
We're trying to get in position here. Bill, can you give us an update? What's the situation?
Not sure. He said after the red flag, it went back green. it's got a miss upstairs, so I'm not really sure if we found a plug or what we did as we sat down there. Wasn't getting any better. We checked the plug wires, things like that. Nothing seems to have helped it. So he said it was coming and going at the end. So maybe if it runs 10, 12 more laps, it gets enough heat in it, it'll clear him out a little bit. But this doesn't look like it's going to be our night. So we'll keep fighting and see if we can't get the port car back up there.
Okay, so the 2 came down and went to the pits and put on fresh tires, and now we'll have to follow up the situation with the 46 and see if they can ride this thing out for another 30 laps.
Ray, the good news right now, only 17 cars on the lead lap. Obviously, Frank pitting this time will be 17th in line. The 2 of Michael McDowell gave up the lead to come down pit road, and he will restart this race in the 11th position.
So Michael McDowell giving up the lead, coming onto pit road, feeling that's his best option. Obviously, they were a little concerned about fuel. That would have been a long run.
Maybe a lot. I would say maybe a lot concerned.
They're a lot concerned about fuel, and the benefit of Frank Kimmel not running well, or potentially not running well, gave them the opportunity to come onto pit road and not have to gamble.
You know, it's funny. I was talking to Frank Kimmel, before the race, and I said, do you run this race with one eye on the 2, or do you run this race trying to win every race? He said, well, we've been in this thing a long time. We've won 8 championships. We've run for points just about our entire ARCA REMAX career. So we would be lying if we didn't, if we said we didn't think about what they were doing. But at the end of the day, you have to run your own race. And right now, they're having a problem with the engine. That's why Frank come down pit road. We knew that he probably had enough fuel to get to the end, but he was backing up on the racetrack. So they took a cursory look at the plug wires to make sure they didn't have a plug wire come off. Try to put 4 tires on because he, might as well, because he already gave up his track position. So they are cognizant of what Michael McDowell was doing, but at the end of the day, they have to do what's best for them.
And at the beginning of the show, we talked about Mark Mitchell, Josh Wise grabbing his first career pole, and we thought, well, they're not really the story because it's going to be Michael McDowell and Frank Kimmel. Well, all of a sudden, they're back into the forefront of the story. We've got Brian Clausen out in front, Justin Allgaier, Dominic Casola. That 87 of Andy Lally is running 4th, and 5th is the 22 of Josh Wise. So right back up to the front. I think they always say the cream rises to the top.
And remember, Josh was penalized after that accident he was involved in for pitting too soon. So he made the most recent restart from the back of the field, and he's worked his way up into the top 5 right now, running 5th. Again, a lot of those cars that were on the lead lap came down pit road, but Josh has passed some cars also.
Coming out of turn 4, we're about to see the green flag once again. And we've had 5 cautions. The green flag back in the air. We're back to racing. Two and 3 wide, almost on the start of this one. Brian Clausen slow on the restart. He was leading when the green flag came out. Here comes Justin Allgaier to the inside.
They've got the lap car of Aaron Crocker. They just unlapped herself right in front of them, side by side for the lead. Justin on the bottom, going to be able to pull out in front of Brian Clausen to take over the lead.
Justin Allgaier looking for another win in the ARCA REMAX Series. He won in his hometown of Springfield on the dirt a year ago. Looking to make it 2 wins in this series now.
Boy, would he like to get a win on pavement, too. And right here in St. Louis would be a big, big day for Justin Allgaier.
So Allgaier out in front now of the 40 of Brian Clausen. Dominic Casola running in 3rd in that number 1. Andy Lally in the 87, and rounding out the top 5 is Josh Wise in the 22.
There's heavy traffic right there. There's Michael McDowell right up your screen in that 2 car.
Again, fresh tires on that number 2 as he tries to make the pass, taking positions away. He was in 9th when he went by the start-finish line the last time, and he's holding on to that position now as he tries to get by that 37 of Michelle Theriault.
Yeah, Brian Silas right now, just for a moment ago from his onboard, he's up into the 5th position right now.
Those of you tuning in for NASCAR Busch Series qualifying, that's coming up next. We had a red flag condition that has slowed this one down by about 20 minutes. We have 28 laps of racing to go from Gateway, so stay tuned right here to Speed for Busch qualifying following our race.
There's Brian Silas right there. That's Andy Lally, the 87 car right behind him. They're side by side for the 7th position. That's Justin Marks and Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell gets it.
Michael McDowell. He got by Justin Marks. A little smoke coming out of that 87 and Andy Lally when they went down the front stretch. Now down the back stretch, Brian Silas just in front of Andy Lally. Silas running in the 5th position.
A couple of guys with some road racing experience right there. Rolex guys. Andy Lally, the 87. Michael McDowell, a regular in the Rolex series. And Michael McDowell's going to move to the inside to take over the 6th spot.
That's for 6. He takes it away. Now Brian Silas just in front of him. We look back from Brian Silas's onboard. And McDowell hugging that white line down on the low side of the racetrack, trying to get the run on Brian Silas as they go down the backstretch.
Justin Allgaier continues to lead. Brian Clausen running 2nd right now. Brian had the lead on the restart, got seized up a little bit on that restart. Justin Allgaier was able to get by him. Here goes Michael McDowell, close to the inside of the 11 of Brian Silas.
That's for 5th position. Here comes Michael McDowell. Oh, and problems. We've got the caution back out. That's the 75, Jason Hedleski.
Jason was being shown 1 lap down. You see the damage to the left side of that Curtis air compressors Ford.
We had just 25 laps of racing to go. The 6th caution of the night has come out.
Jason's going to make his way onto pit road.
Get a reminder, those of you tuning in for Busch Series qualifying, it will follow the end of this race. It'll be a sprint to the finish. Just to let you know, in the ARCA REMAX Series the past 7 years, it's been dominated by Frank Kimmel, winning 7 series championships in a row. He's got 8 to his name. But tonight, Michael McDowell making a gutsy call, coming in later, and then all of a sudden Frank Kimmel having issues with his car, putting this points battle right back in the forefront. Kimmel running in the 16th spot right now. Michael McDowell is 6th, and out in front of the field is the 16 of Justin Allgaier.
Yeah, Frank Kimmel has only been able to pass one of the cars that's on the lead lap. He has not made a whole lot of progress, so he obviously is still fighting that engine issue, that miss they were talking about. Right now, Michael McDowell is making his way towards the front. He restarted in the 11th position. He's already made his way up to 6th. Was in a battle with the 11 of Brian Silas for the 5th position when the caution flag came out.
And Phil, in this situation, I mean, when we talk about big picture and Frank Kimmel, he's on the racetrack and he has an issue with the motor. If an issue took place where that motor blows, right now with 24 laps of racing to go, he could drop all the way back to 28 in this race. And if he gets a 28th place finish and Michael McDowell finishes up in the top 10, even top 5 where he's running close to right now, we're talking about we could have a new points leader.
Oh, this point championship is far from over. A lot of racing to go yet in the ARCA REMAX Series. In addition to tonight, we've got some great races coming up in the ARCA REMAX Series. So this thing is anything but over.
23 laps of racing to go. Michael McDowell currently in 6th, out in front of the field. Under the moonlight, it's the 16 of Justin Allgaier. Speed's coverage of the ARCA REMAX Series from Gateways presented by REMAX. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. Welcome back to Gateway. Currently under our 6th caution of the night. Throw in a red flag condition, and that is why we have been pushed back by a few minutes. If you're tuning in for the Busch Series qualifying, that's coming up next right here on Speed. And continued race coverage for the ARCA REMAX Series from Gateway International Raceway. Out in front of this field, Justin Allgaier, the number 16. He has a previous win in the series. It came on a dirt racetrack, though, a year ago in Springfield. He's looking for his first ever win on pavement in the ARCA REMAX Series. Just behind him, Brian Clausen in the number 40.
2 runner-up finishes already this year. Just 18 years old.
Brian Clausen looking for his first ever win in the ARCA REMAX Series.
Dominic Casola with a great run. This is a career run for Dominic Casola here in the ARCA REMAX Series. He's running 3rd right now. Josh Weiser, pole sitter, all the way up to 4th with some damage.
involved in the accident that brought out our red flag. Right behind them, the 11 of Brian Silas, and second in points and sixth on the racetrack, the number 2 of Michael McDowell. Onto the front stretch, green flag back in the air. We're racing at Gateway once again. 20 laps to go.
Josh Wise looks to the inside of Dominic Casola. That's a battle for the 3rd spot.
Josh dropping in behind Dominic Casola now down the backstretch. Aaron Crocker in the number 98, a lap down car. Involved in an accident earlier. This is for 5th. The pass by Michael McDowell, looking to the inside of the 11 of Brian Silas.
Not quite able to clear Brian. Brian's going to fight back on the outside. Now Michael McDowell does make the pass. Takes over 5th.
Michael McDowell was leading the race when the 5th caution came out on lap 84. They decided that they needed to come in for fuel, so he gave up the lead. Restarted in the 11th position. He's made his way back up to 5th now.
Brian Clausen had a peek at the inside on Justin Allgaier. That is a battle for the lead.
Allgaier now with 2 car lengths over the 40 of Brian Clausen as they go by the start-finish line. Clausen looks like he's getting into the corners a bit better than Justin Allgaier.
Real strong getting in. Justin's running a little bit higher line right there.
Keeps that momentum up as he goes down the backstretch. But Brian Clausen looking to the inside now, side by side for the lead.
And is able to clear him. Use that Ernie Elliott horsepower to clear the 16 of Justin Allgaier, a new leader.
Brian Clausen out in front of the field now. Justin Allgaier running 2nd, Dominic Casola 3rd, Josh Wise and Michael McDowell round out your top 5.
Remember that 22 of Josh Wise and the 2 of Michael McDowell, our teammates. They finished 1-2 at Pocono just a few weeks ago.
Down the backstretch, Brian Clausen now with a clean racetrack in front of him. There's those teammates you were talking about, Josh Wise, Michael McDowell.
That 14 of Brett Rowe that was making such a good run. He's on pit road with an unscheduled pit stop.
Looking back from Brian Silas is on board to Colin Brown in that number 99, the Roush Fenway development driver.
That's Michael Annette, the 32 car, peeking to the inside. Michael McDowell looks to the inside of his teammate, Josh Wise.
Josh Wise pulling away from Michael McDowell. Ray Dunlap, what are they talking about?
Well, as you're talking about these guys being team cars, realize both of these cars at one time were Dodge Chargers. Now, the 22 is actually a Toyota now, but that's basically just because they reskinned it and changed it over to a Toyota. Now, we're talking about a couple of different cars here. This is 507, the chassis number on the number 22 car, and Michael McDowell is driving chassis number 615. This is a car that he's used to go to victory lane already this year, and they believe they've still got enough time to get to front, but what he really is concentrating on right now is trying to get by his teammate, Josh Wise.
And the laps are winding down. If he's trying to get to the front, he's having to work awfully hard to get past 4th right now.
And Michael's being shown as he looks to the inside of his teammate, Josh Wise. He's less than 2 seconds behind. If he can get by his teammate fairly quickly and move up and get by those other cars, he may have, oh, got sideways over in turn 2.
A little bit loose there for Michael McDowell as he was really trying to cut the corner very tight, and he lost a lot of ground on his teammate Josh Wise.
Justin Allgaier continues to run in the 2nd position. Dominic Casola running 3rd. Remember at Pocono he finished 8th just a few weeks ago, his best career finish in the ARCA REMAX series.
Looking to improve on that tonight. Again, this is for 2nd. Justin Allgaier holding on to the number 2 position, and the 1 of Dominic Casola right on his back bumper. And you can't count out that 22 of Josh Wise. Josh Wise involved in an accident earlier, penalized for coming onto pit road. Had to start at the back of the longest line, and now already up into the 4th position.
Meanwhile, Frank Kimmel has made his way by a few cars. He's up with the 12th position. So we'll look at Michael McDowell, going to make it 3 wide.
McDowell looking to the inside of his teammates again. And 3 wide just isn't going to work. Dominic Casola gets pushed completely out of the line. And here comes the 22 of Josh Wise once again. He doesn't give up the position to McDowell.
Michael had to get in that corner so hard and was at a bad angle being on the inside that it forced him up the hill. Josh Wise was able to make the turn underneath him and beat him off turn number 2.
Laps are winding down. McDowell trying everything he can to get by that 22. Right.
Lots of traffic here between the 2 spotters, telling each other that they need to get that 2 in front. Sort of a team program here, but they want to know that Josh Wise, they're trying to tell Josh Wise that the 2 is 3/10 faster and to give him up the position. Josh came back on the radio and said, I'll give it to him if he earns it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Josh Wise. He's racing right here for the 2nd position. There's no way I would just back off and let, Justin Allgaier is going to fight back on the bottom of the racetrack, not quite able to make the pass there.
Josh Wise takes 2nd away from Justin Allgaier. Here comes the 2 of Michael McDowell. That is for 3rd. He will take the position away from Allgaier. And now the 2 teammates working their way up towards the 40 of Brian Clausen.
About a 2.5 lead right there for Brian Clausen as they go down the backstretch.
Inside of 10 laps of racing to go. Josh Wise, Michael McDowell running 2nd and 3rd. Brian Clausen leading this field, like you mentioned, about a 1.5 seconds in front of them.
Remember at Pocono, the 2 of Michael McDowell got by the 22 of Josh Wise. At that time was a battle for the 2nd position. And then when Jeremy Clements ran out of fuel coming off turn number 3, the final corner, that was for the victory. So no, Josh Wise really beat himself up over allowing his teammate to get by here and cost him a shot at winning this race.
Josh Wise and Michael McDowell running 2nd and 3rd. Last time by, just a second separated them and Brian Clausen. So they're working together and working closer to the 40.
Let's take a look at their speeds now compared to our leader. You see Josh Wise about a 1.5 miles an hour faster than Brian Clausen that lap. And the same thing for Michael McDowell. They run it just about, Michael gets a good run on the bottom.
Josh Wise moved up the racetrack. Michael McDowell on the inside. Can he make the pass? No, he's not going to be able to make it. Slow race car on the backstretch, and it's not going to be able to make it in. It looked like it was that 93 of Julian Penaruz.
See what the gap is when they get to the start-finish line.
There's Julian Penaruz, and it looks as though he's still rolling on that access road. I don't know if they'll throw the caution or not.
About a 4/10 of a second gain that time for Brian Clausen because of this hard battle for the 2nd position.
Brian Clausen, as he looks in his rearview mirror, sees these 2 battle side by side and is ecstatic knowing that he can run faster in the clean air in front of him. There goes Clausen. Here comes Josh Wise, and there goes Michael McDowell.
1, 2, 3. Let's see what the gap is right there for Brian Clausen. Even open it up a little bit more, about 0.2 of a second faster that time than the 22 of Josh Wise.
Brian Clausen up on the wheel. He ran his fastest lap on lap 113. So 1 lap ago was the fastest lap of the race for Brian Clausen. Ray Dunlap.
Michael McDowell just lost 4th gear. 4th gear went out of his transmission. He has had to shift to 3rd. Can the engine make it that far, Phil, if he's got to run this thing in 3rd gear?
Yeah, I think he just needs to back off a little bit early. You know, there's not a big gap between 3rd and 4th gear. It's just maybe a few hundred more RPM, but he probably needs to back off early. He's got a little bit of a cushion on the 4th place car right now of Justin Allgaier. He does not want to lose this engine this close to gaining some points on Frank Kimmel.
There's the point standings as they run. Frank Kimmel with a 45-point lead over Michael McDowell. So McDowell chipping away. That would be a 50-point gain for McDowell here tonight.
5 laps to go, inside of 5 laps to go, coming down for 4 laps to go.
This time by Brian Clausen in front of the field at Gateway. He leads Josh Wise by just over 1 second. Does Josh Wise have enough time? Well, he just made up about 0.4 of a second on Brian Clausen. If he can do that 3 more laps, he will be right on his back bumper.
There they are right there, 3.5 laps to go.
Josh Wise focusing on the back bumper of that 40 of Brian Clausen. Michael McDowell still holding on to third, but as Ray had mentioned, doesn't have fourth gear anymore. So really not in contention to catch his teammate, the 22 of Josh Wise.
Yeah, Michael just needs to back off there. Try to hold the third position if he can. Try to keep the 16 of Justin Allgaier behind him. But meanwhile, Josh Wise tries to chase down the 40 of Brian Clausen.
Brian Clausen, Josh Wise, 1 and 2. The last time by, it was just over a second that separated the two. This time by, 2 laps of racing to go from Gateway International Raceway. 2.5 miles remaining. That time under 1 second, the difference between the two.
Brian Clausen keeping that car right on the bottom. Josh Wise running a little bit higher. Half a lap to go for Brian Clausen. 1.5 laps to go, I'm sorry, for Brian Clausen.
That's a big area of space between Brian Clausen and Josh Wise. And this time by, he's going to see the white flag. It will be 1.25 miles to go before his first win in the ARCA REMAX Series.
They have a few lap cars in front of him. They may come into play here.
A little smoke coming out of the right rear as he got into the brake a little hard coming into turn 1. Now a straightaway. Down the backstretch, Brian Clausen looking for his first win. 4 previous races for Brian Clausen in the ARCA REMAX Series has netted him 3 top 5s. His career best he did twice. The first one was at Lakeland, the second one at Nashville. Coming out of turn number 4, checkered flag will fly. It is the 40 of Brian Clausen, your winner. 3 wide as they come across the start-finish line. They're battling for 6th. Michael Annett gets the spot. Andy Lally 7th. Justin Marks in 8th. How about that, Phil?
What a nice job by Brian Clausen for a first ever ARCA REMAX win. Josh Wise, great run. Again, another second place finish for him. And Michael McDowell's going to gain some points. Frank ended up finishing 12th. Michael McDowell 3rd.
It's our 13th different winner in 18 races this season in the ARCA REMAX Series. And this time, it's that Memorex Dodge Charger of Brian Clausen. He will be your victor at Gateway International Raceway. His celebration begins. His team's going to join him on the racetrack. There you see the unofficial top 10 from Gateway. First ever celebration for Brian Clausen in that number 40, winning his first ARCA REMAX Series race here in the Gateway ARCA 150. Not a bad burnout there for a young man.
Is the car there somewhere?
It is in all the smoke. We take a look at our unofficial results. The top 10, Brian Clausen, Josh Wise, another impressive performance.
Career best for Dominic Casola. Great run, finishes in the 5th position. Michael Annett, another top 10 in his 3rd ever ARCA REMAX start, finishes 6th. And Andy Lally gets another top 10 in his 2nd ever race.
Take a look here. Frank Kimmel coming home unofficially in the 12th spot. Earlier you saw Michael McDowell. Again, those two in a great points battle. McDowell finished 3rd. Frank Kimmel coming home in 12th. As we continue through the unofficial results.
See Dexter Bean back in the 33rd position. He got involved in an accident. Ryan Fisher, that spectacular accident, finishes in the 32nd position.
And we're glad he is all right. Ray Dunlap, I believe you've caught up with McDowell.
Well, I have, and he's climbed out of the car. Now, we heard you on the radio saying that you lost 4th gear. Was that the difference in not getting back to the front?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. It was, you know, at the end there, I was racing Josh real hard, and then 4th gear went out, and all I had was 3rd, so I couldn't really contend. But, you know, Eddie Sharp Racing and Z-Line Design, Mission Residential gave us an awesome car tonight. You know, we got a little bit off on the strategy. Had to come from 11th there to the front, and we were definitely the car to beat. We just needed track position, and when I got behind my teammate, it was just, you know, it was a good hard racing, but you know, we got held up a little bit too long, and then 4th gear broke. So, you know, luckily we were able to hang on to the end and get a good point stay, and you know, we led a lot of laps, and I think we led the most, so that gains us 5 bonus points, and we're just running Frank down in this championship, try to win this thing.
4 races in 12 days. This is a pretty crazy stretch.
Oh, it's great. You know, it's a lot of fun for the drivers. It's hard on the crews, but you know, we're prepared for this. It's something we've been working on for the last 4 or 5 weeks to get all our cars ready to go so that we can take the fight to Frank.
All right, well, let's get Josh Wise in here real quick. Josh, great run tonight and a teammate battle there. You guys really had some hard-fought racing.
Oh, it was fun, man. We You know, we got our pit sequence got a little messed up because of the wreck we got caught up in over there on the backstretch. So we were on a lot older tires there at the end than we wanted to be. And Eddie's up there spotting the owner, and he's telling me Michael's coming up with fresh tires. And I was like, well, I want to win this thing too. So we kept racing, but everyone did an awesome job. Wayne Carroll, my new crew chief, it was a blast working with him, and Eddie Sharp spotting for me. And I got to thank Napa Auto Parts and everyone at Michael Waltrip Racing for all their support and everything.
All right, great run for Josh Wise. Now let's get to victory lane, another first-time winner in the ARCA REMAX Series.
And Brian Clausen unstrapping from the interior of his race car. He's already done the burnout. He's pulled into pit road. His crew now trying to help him with a radio cord. We're going to have to jump in here. Brian finished second in 2 other starts this year and a 5th and a 14th. And I'm telling you, this kid is all excited. The hands are shaking. The helmet is coming off. And after serious neck injuries last fall, who'd have thunk he'd be in victory lane in the ARCA REMAX Series? Brian Clausen, congrats, man. Stay right where you are, buddy. Well-earned victory. Got the Hans device clips going on for you here. And Brian, tell us about the pass on Justin and this win.
You know, we kind of gave up the lead there on the restart to him. Just didn't quite get through the gears as good as he did, and you know, so I was bound and determined to get these guys back, you know, where they deserve. They gave me a great car all night. You know, Matt Chambers made a great call on the pit strategy there, getting us in early, and it allowed us to be out front there at the end with great track position. And you know, it's just good. We've been so close with this Memorex Dodge so many times here that we've ran the ARCA REMAX Series, and you know, it's good to finally give these guys what they deserve.
Calm, cool, and collected. The party will begin when he climbs out, guys. Brian Clausen getting in victory lane here for the first time in his career.
And he's going to have to unstrap, and I'm sure that his team is waiting for him to climb out so they can celebrate with him. Take a look at these points as we have finished our 18th of the 23 races. Just 40 points now separating Kimmel and McDowell.
Yeah, we've got a great point battle coming up, and we've got a race on Monday on the dirt at DeCoin, and then another race back next Saturday in Chicago.
It was a very exciting race here at Gateway. We had some exciting accidents that took place, but it was Brian Clausen winning.